Good morning, everyone. Right after the immediate family, the sons, David and Les, have their moment. We are in a time of moment. We'll start the Levaya, sending off Barbara, Mrs. Barbara Geller. So now is the time. Anyone from the family who wants to come over and just say something or ask for forgiveness or let go of all grudges. It works both ways because right now, where the soul is right now hovering, it sees a brighter moment, sees the truth, and is holding on to let go. So we have to let go to hold on and hold on to let go. So this is the moment. After the families finish this part, they'll sit and we'll start the final honor for Basha Rezel Bas of Chaim Velvel. Okay, so the family may take their seats. Just like when we say farewell to our loved one, our children who come to visit, our parents who come to visit, we walk them to the door. We make sure they have everything they need. They didn't forget anything, nothing left in the rummage sale to go to the synagogue, that they have everything. And as children know, we want to make sure that all our kids, they have everything they brought with them because we don't want to run out during the week to have to mail it and this, and I left my charger and I left my phone. So the same thing, when our loved one is transitioning from the physical world to the spiritual world, the world of heaven, Shamayim, we want to make sure they have everything they need. Now, it's not that they need food for the journey. They need to know what to answer when they're asked up there. So the number one thing you are asked, like when you go into any new country, what is your name? Full name. And her Hebrew name is Basha Rezel Bas Chaim Velvel. And Barbara, we want you to know that after looking up your Hebrew birthday, you were born in the Shabbat that we were reading Toldot, the birth of Isaac, Yitzchak, the child of Abraham. And you were born on a Wednesday, Toldot. And it was that year, I have it right here, it was the 28th of Cheshvan, November 23rd, 1927. So you were born on a Wednesday, Koach, the Wednesday that already takes us into the last 3 days of the week that take us into Shabbos. So remember, you were born Chav Ches Mar Cheshvan, Parshas Toldos, and you were called back on the 19th of Adar, on a Tuesday, and on Parshas Vayakel, where Moses gathers the Jewish people, tell them about the Shabbos. And now you are being gathered from this world, going to heaven, to honor this Shabbos with your husband, your family, and friends, and all the sisterhoods you have been part of all your life, and all your baking friends and your latke making friends, Hanukkah and Purim. She was always involved in the synagogue at Bethel Jacob since me and my wife came to town. It was always that thrill, going to do everything for the community and bringing the taste of Jewish life, whatever the demand was throughout the year. But everyone also in their name has a verse of the Torah that starts with the first letter and the last letter of the Hebrew name. So for Basha, Barbara, we want you to know, Basha starts with a bet and it ends with an aleph. And the verse in the Torah that starts with those letters of your name is Beit Aharon. She was married to a Levi. As you know, the Gellers are from the Levi family, the tribe of Levi, going back over 4,000 years ago, direct descendants of Moses and Aaron, the family of Levi. And the verse of her name is Beit Aharon, the house of Aaron. Bitchu b'Hashem, trust in God. Ezram umaginam hu. That's the first verse. House of Aaron, trust in the Lord. He is their help and He is their protector. Shield. And Razel, the verse of Razel in the Torah which starts with a resh and ends with a lamed, Razel. It goes as follows: Re'u ata ki ani, anihu ve'ein Elokim imadi, ani amis v'achaya, machatzti v'ani erpa ve'ein miyadi matzil. See now that I, even I, am He, and there is no God with me. I cause death, and I make alive. I bring resurrection. I cause wounds, and I heal. And there is no one who can save you from my hand. Baruch Dayan ha'emet. Emet is Aleph Mem Taf, truth. The sons just made that blessing. When the Aleph is concealed from the word Emet, we are left with the word Met. Passing, death, end. So now that your neshama, Barbara, has concealed and detached from your body, it's hovering over you now, you are getting ready to be born back to where you came from, even a greater place from where you came from, where the Aleph is revealed. It's just from this world it's concealed, and that world it's revealed again. So you are being born back with your soul, and all the good you did, and all the love you shared, and all the latkes and hamantashin and matzah and seders you helped, all the mitzvos you did pave your way to a greater place from even where you came from originally. When a soul comes down to this world, a baby is born, everyone is happy and jolly, but the baby is crying. And when this, known thing, the day of your birth is your personal Rosh Hashanah, and the day of your passing is your personal Yom Kippur. And the day of your burial is your Ne'ilah, you're going up in heaven, in a cloud of heaven. But when the day comes, you're called back after serving life, the opposite happens. We are all sad, we're all crying, but the soul, the person, is happy. The opposite. And that is when the soul comes down to this world, it sees all these different faces. Here it was one face with God, and there was one truth, no different opinions, no different feelings. Comes down to a world and sees all these different faces, and it's horror, it's scary, it's cries, it feels lonely. But we all feel happy, a gift of heaven. We feel innocence, we feel the joy, we feel meaning, and we feel love and innocence that we need so much more of today than ever. But when the person leaves this world, we are all sad and they're happy because they're going back to a heaven that they created on earth. As the saying is, how you make your bed, that's how you will sleep in it. And they're going back to a greater place. So they're happy. And that's why we will say later on at the gravesite, Hamakom, it's the place with God where the soul is. That is a comfort for us to know they are in the most secure, innocent, truthful, joyous place. We just feel denied and sad that we're not there. But the main thing, the main goal and blessing is to see everyone our loved ones come back in the body again, Tchiyat HaMesim, which it's so crazy out there today that resurrection of the dead is a normal idea already. If my father or Barbara would just come in here right now, we would all be very normal. We wouldn't even lose our minds, because many of us already lost our minds, so there's nothing else to lose. But we would be ready, willing, and able to accept this explosion of truth and innocence and joy. Hopefully we should witness it in our lifetime. Amen. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Cantor Deidre will lead us in Psalm 23 and in the Psalm of Barbara, her psalm, which is very important to know. She was given 97 years of life. Her psalm would have been song 98, and we will say that as well, so you could hear the blessings. And that psalm happens to be something we sing on the Shabbos, Friday night.
I'll chant Psalm 23 in Hebrew, and then please join me in reading the English that's in here. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo exar, Hinoteshe yarbiseni al mei menuchot, Yanahaleni nafshi yeshovev, Yancheni v'maglei tzedek leman shemo, Gam ki elech beketzel mavet lo yirara, Ki ata imadi, Shiftacha u'mishantecha, Hema yenachamuni, Taroch l'fenai shulchan neged zorarai, Dishanta v'Hashem roshi, kohosi revaya. Ach tov v'chesed yirdafuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti be'vet Adonai le'orech yamim. A Psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou prepare a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. Psalm 98. Mizmor, Shiru l'Adonai, Shir Chadash, Hi nafla otasa, Hoshia lo yaminu, yamino, Ozroa kocho, Hodi Adonai Yeshuato, Le'nei hagoyim, Gilad zitkato, Zachar chasto, ve'emunato, Levein Yisrael, Rucho afsei aretz, Et Yeshuat Eloheinu. Hariu l'Adonai kol haaretz, Pischu v'rananu v'zameru. Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. B'chatzot zarot v'kol shofar hariu, Lifnei hamelech Adonai. Yeram hayam umlo tevel, Yoshveva, Necharot Yimsau Chaf, Yachad, Harim Yiranenu, Lifnei Adonai, Kival Yishpot Haaretz, Yishpot Tevel Betzedek, V'amim B'mesharim. A Psalm. O sing unto the Lord a new song, for he hath done marvelous things. His right hand and his holy arm have wrought salvation for him. The Lord has made known his salvation. His righteousness has he revealed in the sight of the nations. He has remembered his mercy and his faithfulness toward the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of our God. Shout unto the Lord, all the earth. Break forth and sing for joy. Yea, sing praises. Sing praises unto the Lord with the harp and the voice of melody. With trumpets and sound of the horn, shout ye before the King, the Lord. Let the sea roar and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Let the floods clap their hands. Let the mountains sing for joy together. Before the Lord, for he has come to judge the earth. He will judge the world with righteousness and the peoples with equity.
Members of the family will come up now to say a few words to their mother, their grandmother, and share with us memories and thoughts.
As the youngest granddaughter, I have given a few speeches about my bubby at various milestone celebrations over the years. This will be the first time we won't be able to debrief afterwards. I understand in theory that lots of other people have grandmothers. I understand in theory that lots of other people have grandmothers who love them. And I understand in theory that lots of other people have grandmothers who love them a lot. If you are in this room, you will forgive me for my long-held belief that my grandmother loved my sister and me more than any other grandmother loved any other grandkid ever. You will forgive me because you know my grandmother, my bubby. My bubby was strategic. She brainwashed call and response programs into Devorah's and my brains from infancy. Who loves you? Bubby loves you. She was my first sponsor in life, using her social and political capital to make many important things happen for me. Her accomplishments include my first two-piece bathing suit, my transformation from glasses to contacts, and my first plane ride to visit Dave and Deb in Florida and experience Disney World. She saved me from disaster. There were only a couple years pre-driver's license where Devorah and I were not attending the same school, and a school bus was required for transportation. I'm not a morning person. I get this from Bubby. And I missed the bus several times. One quick phone call, and my Buick driving Bubby savior would come to fetch me and deliver me to the appropriate educational institution. Her unconditional love has been one of the very greatest gifts in my life. I will miss her so much. I'd like to close by sharing an email that she sent in 2007. She used to send a lot of emails, bg50322@yahoo. And I think this perfectly summarizes her unique blend of strategy and grandmotherly love. Dear beautiful granddaughters, I thought you might be interested in knowing about your cousin's engagement and wedding plans, so I forwarded the email to you. I'm so proud of both my granddaughters for their accomplishments. You are both wonderful, and we love you so much. Now, you have to do me a favor. For the last 5 times I have lost playing Maj. I need your good luck wishes to start winning again. Zadie and I are both doing well, and we miss you. Love, Bubby.
Reva's always a hard act to follow. I'm David. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the youngest son. Speaking for my brother and I. We're gathered here today, and I'm really happy to see so many people. My mother was always worried that nobody would show up for her funeral. Why are you worried about that? But anyway, I don't think she had to be worried about that at all. We always reassured her. So we're really gathered here to honor and celebrate the remarkable life of my mother, who was a truly extraordinary person. She was a wife, a devoted mother, a bubby, as you just heard, an auntie, a partner, and a friend to so many. And she graced this world with her presence for almost a century, 97 years, think about it. There's only a few people in the lodge that can exceed that or understand that. So it's really, truly remarkable. So she was born just prior to the Great Depression. This was a different era in so many ways, and it affected her in ways, as well as my father, who was also a Depression baby. He was a little bit older. So she experienced times of hardship and joy, and was always a constant source of support for her family, her friends, and loved ones. There were several themes that were woven through her life that I'll touch on a few. I'm not going to do too many, so you don't have to worry about, your bladder control or anything like that. But a lot of the things that affected her storied life included the love of family, sense of community, support of education, and her need for love and attention. And there was money in there too. Money was thrown in. We'll talk a little bit about money. Page 2. So we'll start with family. Family was extremely important to my mother. My mother was raised in a Reformed Jewish family, and when she met my father, he was more Orthodox. So when I was just a wee young one, like about 3 or 4 years of age, she took Hebrew lessons. Every week she'd go to the rabbi's office and learn Hebrew to kind of catch up with my father and also my brother, who was already in Hebrew school. And so she didn't want to be left out, so she went every week with Rabbi Nadoff and took Hebrew lessons, and I went along with her. So that also not only supporting family, but also the education piece I spoke about. And I remember first time she took me to a Shabbat morning service. I was used to seeing Rabbi Nadoff only in his office giving Hebrew lessons. And so when he came up on the bima during services, I jumped up and shouted, "Rabbi, what are you doing up there?" And that was the first time I embarrassed my mother publicly, but not the last. My mom was also the ultimate soccer mom, even though Les and I never played soccer, but lots of other things: baseball, basketball, music lessons, concerts, Cub Scouts, Sunday school and Hebrew school. She would always schlep us around to all these various activities. Never missed a concert, never missed a ball game. I don't know if she enjoyed them or not, but she never missed. She was very, very supportive of us in that way. The other thing is that she had to be a pillar of strength because she grew up in a family of all boys, right? So she had Les and myself and my father, lots of testosterone around. She didn't have any daughters. She always longed for that estrogen influence. And she got it in the form of daughter-in-laws, who she loved dearly, and granddaughters, who you heard a little bit about already, who she loved dearly as well. And so a lot of that love and attention came from the source of having grown up with so much testosterone. She just was relishing the fact that she now had girls in her family to enjoy and look after and play with and clothe and go shopping with and feed and all that sort of thing. So if it seemed like that was too much, that was her way of enjoying the fact that she now had women in her life. She also grew up, or didn't grow up, but she had to endure a lot of sarcasm. My brother and I were, we thought that it was very humorous to say things sarcastically, and we overdid it a little bit. So I apologize for that, Ma. But that was kind of it, and we learned later to tone it down a little bit, not be so sarcastic. But one of the issues was that when I hit my early teen years and puberty, she was going through menopause. So if you talk about the battle of the hormones, that was it. I don't recommend it to anybody. That was bad, and it was only cured by when I went away to college and, physically got away, and then we enjoyed each other's company again, and learned that the 3-day rule was in effect, that we could take each other for about 3 days, and then the 4th day things started to get out of hand, time to go. So that also was a learning experience. The other thing to note about family is my dad was a workaholic. He thought that everything was going to just shut down if he missed a day of work. So we didn't go on a lot of vacations, like family vacations, but we did go to family events. So we just loved going to Fargo or to Minneapolis for Passover Seders or bar mitzvahs or weddings. It was just such a joy to see our family there and gather. And, I have, I think, 24 first cousins between my mother and father's families. So it was always special to get together and celebrate those family things. Now, I will say that most of those celebrations, my father was one of 9 children, and my mother only had 2 siblings. And so it was, things were a little bit more weighted to my dad's side, in terms of family celebrations. I had no idea that my mother's family was so big, because in 1979, there was a Ginsburg family reunion. This is my mother's family. And there was a potential of 350 people that could show up to this reunion. So it turns out a couple generations ago, there were 9 children, and then 9 children of the 9 children. And so it has this tendency to multiply. And out of that 350, I think about 180 people showed up to Des Moines. Most of them lived in California or elsewhere, but all congregated to where it all started here in Des Moines. And that was really a learning experience. I said, Mom, how come you hid all these relatives from us? And it was just because geographically they weren't around, and it was a little harder to get around. So, but as a continuation of family and the Seders and things like that, we loved to go to Debbie and Phil's house in Minneapolis, and celebrate those. And then in later years, when she wasn't able to travel, Sam and Lori Kramer opened their house to us and included us as part of their family. So she just loved that. She loved seeing, the Kramer family grow up and have their own kids and grandkids and so forth. So, it was really a joy for her. Thank you guys for including her. Because of the fact that we didn't travel a lot, she liked to live vicariously through others. So a lot of pressure on Les and I and the grandkids, but she did. She wanted to know every little detail about every part of our lives, because she didn't think she had one. Even she did. But she was very inquisitive, right? And Les and I always thought that she was intrusive. But in reality, she was just really curious and wanted to know exactly everything that was going on. There are certain things she shouldn't know, though, right? And there are certain things that she didn't know. I'm not going to tell you either, not from here. Later in life, when my dad retired at 91 years of age and had a hip injury the same day he retired, had to have surgery and was just never quite the same again. She really took good care of him until he passed in 2015. So, she had a lot of help from Mark Sigliano. I hope I pronounced that correctly. He was a great friend and did a wonderful job with my father, and later with my mother, helping to take care of her in her hour of grief. All right, so let's talk about money. Like I said, she was born in the Depression era, and that affected a lot of people. People would hoard paper. We did have a lot of paper products when we lived on Franklin and Windsor Heights. Later, when she moved to the lodge, there's not as much storage space, so she got rid of that habit. But she was always concerned about money, always, very frugal, not cheap, frugal, and, was always concerned about running out. And I think that same theme holds nowadays, with, the economy going up and down and nobody knows what's going to happen. But she always had the feeling that they didn't have enough money. Now, she helped my father in his business. She did all the bookkeeping, the billing, everything like that. In fact, she taught me how. She knew I liked math, and so she taught me how to add all the columns in the books when I was about 9 or 10 years old, and I kept doing that. And I thought she was just trying to teach me, but little did I realize that she was only paying me 10 cents a page, and they were big pages, so it was really child labor, and that was their way of saving money. So again, money, money, money. I think now, with the cost of eggs, she didn't do grocery shopping lately, right? She didn't go into a store physically lately, and I think if she saw the price of eggs and other things at the grocery store, she would have stopped eating. So it's like, too expensive to eat. It's all right, I'll just drink water. She used to go around town and did CDs. She did certificates of deposit. She would hunt for the best rate. And every time a CD matured, she would look at all the banks and figure out which one had 0.1% more, or who was giving away a toaster or something, but usually the extra 0.1% more. And, actually, if you live long enough, that adds up. You've heard of compounding interest, right? So that actually adds up, and economically, she did a great job. She never lost any because she never invested any in anything else but CDs for a long time. So, you live to 97, that actually pays off. But she still felt poor, even now. She felt poor when she needed the nursing aides to come in and help her. She said, nah. She actually put it off for a year. She needed help a year ago, got a few days and said, no, I don't need you anymore. I'm fine. I can do everything myself. And finally, this year, she accepted the help graciously and doesn't know how much it cost. So thankfully for that. Again, I think Reva mentioned, the rabbi mentioned, that she has a sense of community, very strong sense of community. She was very active in the shul. She was in the sisterhood, became president of the sisterhood. She ran the rummage sales, which was great for us because we got first dibs on everything that came in. I can't believe how many great deals we got. And she was also very social. As I was growing up, she would always have the weekly game of mahjong. They'd rotate homes, and so sometimes it was in our house, other times it was in the other mahjong group's house. And I really enjoyed those days for two reasons. One is there was always candy. The little dishes of malted milk balls and, chocolate-covered raisins and whatever. So I'd always sneak down and hit those in a way that there was not visibly missing candy, a little bit from each dish. And the second reason is I would sneak down and listen to them gossip. So it was always a way of keeping up on the news, what was going on in Des Moines. Later on, of course, there weren't a lot of people at the lodge that played mahjong, so she taught people how to play mahjong. And then a couple more people moved in, and then there was a new mahjong group. So that was wonderful. It was a way of her, socializing and learning a lot of the skills that she used later to be so friendly and I think popular among the folks. She moved to the lodge in 2016, the year after my dad died. And that was her new community and her new family. She had her besties. There was Jan, Marilyn, and Audrey, and lots of other people that just, loved her and are here today even to help us honor her memory. Then along came Hal. And I don't have to say a lot about Hal, except that Hal Gronwald gave her a reason to live. I think she would have passed years ago if it weren't for you, Hal. So thank you for providing her, a reason to get up every morning and have life, have more life. It was wonderful. Mom also supported education. I'm almost done, don't worry. And when I was growing up and when Les was growing up, she always said, you can be anything you want to be, I'll be proud of you, as long as you're a doctor. So, you know that a Jewish fetus is not viable until it gets its medical degree. And she said that because she had a bad back, and she said, when you grow up and go to school, you can be a doctor and fix my back. And so I said, great. But just, being the revolutionary that I was, I went to medical school, and I went into pediatrics. just so I could get her. I said, well, I am a doctor, but I don't know anything about backs. And then she fooled me back, because really, my mother never grew up fully. So she was always a kid at heart, and a pediatrician is perfect for that. So it all worked out. Finally, my mom had this insatiable need for love and attention. She always wanted to be the center of attention, and I think this stems from what she told us was when she was growing up, her big sister was the one that got all the attention. She was not the favorite child, and so she always felt this, kind of, not an inferiority complex, but just a need for attention. She always said she misbehaved on purpose so she would get her parents' attention sometimes, because it was always being showered on her big sister. And so as an adult, also, she liked being the center of attention. She was very friendly and social, but always was asking, "You love me? You love me?" And she, as kids, when we were growing up, she always told us how much she loved us and so forth. We weren't as verbal back. I mean, my dad used to say ditto, and then we followed his lead. So, so she never heard the words enough. But later on, I think my wife taught me how to say the words. I mean, Debbie's a blessing to me, and she taught me how to really show love better. And so, that happened. Mixed in there was a little touch of vanity. She loved people when they complimented her on her hair. I'm sure a lot of you remember that. And also, she had a little nervous, a pinched nerve in her face that she had to get Botox for. And she had a little cancer inside her nose several years ago that they needed to do surgery for. So I always said that my mother's so vain that in her 80s and 90s she had Botox and a nose job. So not for the reasons you might think. So, sorry. I wanted to just close by thanking a number of people that gave her that much needed love and attention, and really for always supporting her. First, my brother Les, who is always here. He lives here, he's physically here. He was always available for any kind of need or emergency, and was very, very caring for her. Hal for loving her and giving her a reason to get up in the morning, and Hal's family for making her feel part of their family as well. I'm going to forget some people, by the way, so please don't be offended. But Barb Beckerman is a little angel for, just paying attention, helping schlep her around to appointments and things. So thank you, Barb. It was wonderful. And Sue Dickman, who lived at the lodge and was a neighbor and became my adopted sister, for being there, also schlepping her around to appointments and tending to her, the wounds on her legs, and being there for emergencies. She was a nurse, so she was there for a lot of the episodes that my mom has had in the last few years. I don't know if any of the staff at the lodge are here, but they've been wonderful to my mother, as well as all the residents at the lodge who made her part of your community and family. Thank you. And then the beautiful, caring staff of Infinity Home Care. They have wonderful aides that came, and Angie and Darcy, and also Abigail, who got us hooked up with her in the first place. Thank you. And then finally the staff at hospice for their loving care at the final days. So I think Mom's spirit will live on with us in our memories. And because I'm such a wino, if I had one, I would raise a glass and toast your life and your legacy. And we find comfort in knowing that you're going to be reunited with Dad and Nanny and Papi Bill and all the others that preceded you, as well as your original Mahjong group. So rest in peace, Mom. We love you.
Thank you, David, for those comments. I'm Hal Grunwald, and I've been Barbara's special friend for the last 4 years. You know, 4 years is not nothing at our age. So I want to explain a little bit about how I got to know Barbara, how I met her, and what we did during those 4 years. I had only moved into the Lodge of Ashworth for a few days, and at the first meal in the dining room, Barbara welcomed me and introduced me to some other people, and then later she came to along with Jan Hall. Is Jan here? There you are. Little welcome wagon stuff, you know, memo pads and pens and that sort of thing. Anyway, since she only lived down the hall about three doors from me, we would bump into each other occasionally. And it started to dawn on me that I really liked this woman. And after I had been at the lodge for about 3 months, my family came to visit, and I gave them a tour. And we ended up in the library, and Barbara was there reading the newspaper. And I decided to go for it. I introduced Barbara as my girlfriend. And she was shocked. My family was shocked, and so was I. A few days later, she told me that, well, if I'm your girlfriend, you must be my boyfriend. And she did make sure that she was my only girlfriend, and that I was her only boyfriend. I assured her about that. She always referred to herself as a cougar, having taken up with someone younger than she. So we shared our mutual affections for 4 years, and there were some great years. Her family took me in as one of their own, and my family took Barbara in. We enjoyed many activities together. Went to restaurants, Maxie's, Christopher's, and I found Barbara to be someone who was very loyal and faithful to her religion. She adhered to the traditions and the teachings as she had been brought up, and she refused to touch pork or certain kinds of seafood, and the dining room made accommodations to her and always presented her with an alternate for the pork, which happened to be on the menu quite a bit. She may have been frugal, which she was, but she was also generous. And if a staff member went above and beyond in doing something for her, she made sure that they got a $10 or $20 gratuity. She loved her family, and she spoke of them constantly, and she was on the phone a lot with members of her family. In short, Barbara was my ideal. I thought she was a wonderful, wonderful woman. In the end, she did accept her mortality, and she spoke quite often about her looking forward to reuniting with Jerry in the afterlife. Barbara, I love you very much. And I miss your daily phone calls and your knocking on my door and watching a movie with you. We all miss her. We don't see her motoring around the lodge in her mobile anymore. She used to drive that thing, and it drove me nuts because she was going too fast. I would ratchet it down, and she would ratchet it right back up. So thank you, Barbara, for making my life livable. These last 4 years have been wonderful.
Hi, everyone. I'm Devorah. If my bubby has ever introduced me to you, you would know that I am her firstborn granddaughter. I think that was her favorite thing to tell people about me. That and we have the same dimple in our left cheek. Thank you all for being here. This is the last thing I want to be doing, and I have a lot to say about my bubby. She would want me to point out that her casket is blonde, like her blonde hair when she was alive. So now that the appearances are out of the way, when I was thinking about what I should say to all of you about my bubby, I kept coming back to music. Bubby would sing little bits of songs that I had never heard of, mostly to me and Reva and Zadie, and I'm assuming Les and David and Debbie, all of you, really anyone. She was always singing. And I don't really know why, but every morning for the past 15 months or so, I sing my fiance, Jake, the same little song when we wake up. So I don't know if this is a hereditary personality trait, or maybe this is just the love language of the Gellers. But either way, for the sake of organizing my thoughts and having a metaphor to hold myself together this morning, I thought I would walk you through some of the songs that remind me of her. Number 1, I Love You, A Bushel and a Peck. This is a song that Bubby sang to me and Reva constantly. I love you, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck. Boop, boop, be doop. Woo! Okay, so I went to grad school for a really long time. I have more academic degrees than anybody needs, and I can confidently say that pretty much the only thing I am sure of in this life is how much Bubby loves me. She was my number 1 fan. This is a position she grabbed onto very early, since well before I was born, and I'm fully expecting that she is going to figure out how to hang on to her number 1 status from beyond the grave. The constant refrain, as Reva mentioned, of the past 40 years of my life, for longer than I can remember really, is, who loves you? Her messaging was frequent and so consistent that nobody else in my life really ever stood a chance. So case in point, one time an ex-boyfriend cutely asked me, who loves me? Or who loves you, to me? And he was really not thrilled when the words that came out of my mouth were the only correct answer, which is, Bubby loves me. Like, that's the only correct answer. Sorry, Jake. Sorry, all of the other men I've ever dated. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Mom. Bubby loves me, period. That's it. Bubby does. All right. Song number 2, Time After Time. I took my very first steps towards Bubby. This was captured in many, many photographs, and she loved to tell me this. If I fell, she was waiting to catch me. She was my protector and my champion. She was the strongest person I knew. And whatever fearlessness I have as an adult is through her example, I think. So one time at Bubby's house, Reva and I were very young. There was a loud thunderstorm outside, and I woke up from a nap. I was very afraid. I run downstairs to the kitchen, and Bubby is hanging out with her friend, Linda Fishman. And I'm afraid, and Reva's afraid. We're very upset. And I think any other grandmother, any other person would just be, there, that's okay. And Bubby and Linda start pulling out pots and pans from the cupboard, and they give me and Reva wooden spoons, and they tell us, when you hear the thunder, bang on the pots and pans as loud as you can, and you'll scare the thunder away. So we did that. Miraculously, I went on to become a violinist, not a drummer. You're welcome, everybody. Another time, Reva and I were home alone one summer afternoon. Our parents were at work. We're just playing or whatever we were doing, and the tornado sirens go off, and we hear on the radio that we should, hunker down in the basement. We're pretty afraid. Tornadoes were like probably the worst thing we thought could happen to us. So we'd gotten over our fear of thunderstorms thanks to Bubby. So we did the only thing we could think of, which was we called Bubby and we told her we were scared and could she come over? And why, yes, she did. She did. She came over that afternoon, drove right over. And decades later, she told me and Reva that she was also really scared that day. The weather was not great. She should not have been driving around, but she was not going to let us down in our time of need. And that brings us to song number 3, to quote Diana Ross, "Ain't no mountain high enough, no valley low enough, and there's no river wide enough to keep her from getting to me." And that was whether I needed her, wanted her, or none of the above. So songs 4 and 5. She drives me crazy like no one else, and she's really got a hold on me. If Bubby was a perfume, she would be Calvin Klein's obsession. She couldn't spend enough time with us. I mean this in the very best possible way, not an insult, like a compliment. Like that is an aspiration for me, to the people I love. She couldn't spend enough time with us. She used to call up my mom and say, "Don't you have some errands to run? Don't you need me to watch your daughters?" And this was really just, you'd think it was disguised as helpfulness, but this was really an excuse for her to spend extra time with us. When I was in college, our relationship was a little bit bumpy. I was trying to be independent, I was trying to be an adult, and do my own thing, and she still needed to know pretty much everything I was up to. So one time she called me, and she was very mad at me because she was reading the paper to see if anything interesting had happened to anyone she knew. And so she called me to demand why she had learned from the Des Moines Register that I had made the dean's list. She was very upset that I had not called and told her this, and I said, "Bubby, it's not a big deal." And she's like, no, you must tell me all of your accomplishments, every little thing. So in the wisdom of my adult years, I know that she would tell me that the sweetest dream will never do because she missed me and she didn't want to miss a thing. That's song number 6. Song number 7, "The Power of Love." It don't need money, don't take fame, don't need no credit card to ride this train. It's strong and it's sudden and it's cruel sometimes, but it might just save your life. That's the power of love. Being loved by Bubby was like being loved by the sun. She was colorful, she was bold, and she basically told anybody who would listen how much she adored me and Reva. We say the Shema prayer every day, and after you say the silent part, you start with "and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your might, with all your soul." And later in my adult life, I really think of her as the example of this is what that looks like in action. She loved us with all of her heart, all of her soul, with all of her might. So I was painfully shy as a child. The power in her love and devotion was actually overwhelming, and it was something I wanted to get away from. And I did. I moved halfway across the country. I eventually became a doctor, sadly not an MD, but the other kind. And I got so far away, in fact, that the farther I got into my adulthood, the closer I felt to her and the more I looked to her for inspiration in a lot of areas of my life. Song number 8 is Tradition. From Bubby, I learned how to build a Jewish life, how to be a member of a community, and especially in community with women. Her favorite holiday was Passover, and I have to say that between her farfel kugel, which was one of her better dishes, and the hard-boiled eggs and salt water that always signaled the beginning of the meal, this was probably my favorite Jewish food holiday. When I began hosting my own Passover Seders as an adult, she sent me some of the blue and gray Maxwell House Haggadahs that I'd used growing up. And she patiently offered me pointers as I learned to make the same holiday foods she had always made for me. And of course, there's the legendary Bethel Jacob Hamantaschen, which in my childhood was a closely guarded secret recipe. About 10 years ago, she gave me the dough recipe. And me not knowing what I was in for, I decided to go for it. And so I told my friends to bring their own fillings and come on over. We were going to have a Hamantaschen party. I killed not one, but 2 hand mixers making the Bethel Jacob Hamantaschen dough. I have a stand mixer now, and so we're fine. But anyway, so this became a yearly tradition for me and my friends. There were more friends who would come every year. We made just an obscene number of Hamantaschen. And in fact, this was the last social activity I did in 2020 before New York shut down for the pandemic. And last weekend, as Bubby was in the last days of her life here, the only thing I could think to do in New York was to get out the dough recipe, get out my new stand mixer, and roll, fill, and pinch dozens of Hamantaschen as I waited for updates from the family. Song number 9 is That's What Friends Are For. Bubby had a lot of close friends, and in good times and in bad, she was on their side forevermore. In adulthood, as my social circle grew and I began navigating the ins and outs of my own friendships, I would often think of, what would Bubby do? The last time I remember wearing this dress, actually, was to a Saturday morning service in support of a good friend who was chanting Torah for the first time. She had the 3rd Aliyah. I was a Levi. Whole life opposed to ever taking an Aliyah. Bubby was a Cohen, by the way. She loved to tell people that she married down when she married Zadie and became a Levi. All right, anyway, my friend chanting Torah for the first time was an opportunity for me to support my friend by taking the 2nd Aliyah and holding the Torah open for her while she laned the 3rd Aliyah. A few years after that, my friendship ended, and Bubby was the person I talked to about it and whose perspectives really helped me decide how to move forward. Song number 10 is I Walk the Line. Bubby really walked the talk. She put her money where her mouth was. She was dedicated and principled and so consistent. She loved her friends. She loved me and Riva, but she really walked the line and moved everything around for Zadie. She gave up her social life. She gave up her friends, shopping, everything to take care of Zadie when his health declined in the last years of his life, and she did this really gracefully. She didn't complain a lot about it, and there was a lot of love and determination that she put in to give Zadie the level of love and care that she thought that he deserved. And after his death, she moved to the lodge where she made new friends. She became a pool shark, taught a whole bunch of people to play mahjong, and she was even a cougar, and she landed Hal Grunwald, who lived just down the hall. Song number 11 it has one of my favorite song lyrics of all time. It's a little bit self-indulgent, but David kind of prepared all of you for this, so bear with me. It's a Smiths song called How Soon Is Now, and the lyric I always think of in regard to Bubby is, shut your mouth, how can you say I go about this the wrong way? I am human, and I need to be loved, just like everybody else does. Bubby put so much love into her community and her family, and you better believe she commanded and demanded our respect and love and adoration in return. She took up space in the world, and she did it with a confidence and aplomb that I didn't really learn until I was an adult. Song number 12, You Are Not Alone. Bubby was here with us, and even when she and I were far apart, I was always in her heart. I'd also like to tell you that I hope this is okay, Jake. But last night when we went into Bubby's apartment to talk to Rabbi Jacobson, my fiance Jake got a little nosebleed in Bubby's bathroom, which he said felt like Bubby reminding him that she would always be around to watch him and make sure that he takes care of me. Song number 13, You're the Inspiration. I may have been the meaning in her life, but Bubby is the inspiration in mine. For loving loudly and with all my heart, for making and keeping Jewish traditions, for sustaining friendships with enthusiasm, for getting out of my head and having some fun once in a while, for leading and serving my communities with exuberance and confidence. And I promised my family I would end us on a high note, so that brings us right to Song 14 and the end of my speech with Whitney Houston and Dolly Parton. I will always love you. I will always love you, Bubby.
Rabbi Jacobson will be ending the service soon. I just want to remind people that there will be 3 Shiva Minions on Saturday at 8:30, at Sunday at 7:15, and Monday at 7:15, all 3 at Tifereth. And these are noted in the program today. So thank you for being here.
Pastor Rezel, right now we're going to take you to the Beit Olam, your everlasting place, and reunite you with your husband and family. So for all those who are going to the cemetery, we'll get ready, and I think the family will go first. And the pallbearers will, I guess, John will get the casket to go into the hearse, and we'll see everyone at the gravesite.